Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome back to River Forest for Game 2 of today's doubleheader between the Concordia Chicago Cougars and the St. Norbert's Green Knights. St. Norbert's coming off of their first conference win of the season, what was a conference opener in Game 1 of the doubleheader, and their first win in 9 games. They're looking to continue it in Game number 2. Zoe Zasada leading off once again, and she's going up against a new face on the mound today. For the Cougars, their number one option on the pitcher's mound so far this year, Ash Schroll.
Schroll's been great on the mound for the Cougars. Had a bit of a rough start, a bit of a rough go around last start against North Park.
Yeah, Schroll coming off of her worst start of the year, 2 2/3 innings, 5 earned runs, but other than that, she has been electric this season. Highlight was a no-hitter pitched on their spring break tournament as Zasada pops that foul off of the dugout, makes it a 1-2 count. But even still with that start, still a 4.71 ERA, only 13 earned runs given up on 19 and a third inning pitch. She has been great for the Cougars so far.
Yeah, she's been excellent. Batters against her only have a 274 average.
And Zasada pops that foul into right field. There to make the play is Padaluna. That's out number 1.
1 up, 1 down for Schroll.
That's a solid start for the Cougars. 4 pitches, 1 out. And that brings up to the plate Grendel Sprong.
And in Game 1, the Cougar pitching was good. They only gave up 5 hits and 3 runs. Only issue for them was that North Park's pitching was great.
Grendel Sprong takes that down low and out for ball 1. Sprong hitless in Game 1 today. That one catches the corner, strike 1.
When Schroll's able to consistently hit those outside corners, she is lethal on the mound.
1-1 pitch. That's low for ball 2.
Just trying to find that corner again. That one just dropped a little bit too much.
Two one pitch. Again, just a bit low and outside for ball 3. Infield looks a bit different for the Cougars. Caitlin Smith starting at second in this game. Joe Anderson over at third. Swing and a miss. Grendel Sprong gets going high. That brings it to a full count.
She took a big swing with that one. Just went right over the ball.
3-2 pitch fouled off to the St. Norbert's dugout. And we saw this a lot, and it's obvious what one of the coaching emphases on this St. Norbert's team. You get to 2 strikes, you go defensive. We saw this a lot in Game 1. Lots of foul balls there. Sprong fouls that pitch off on the full count. Here's a 3-2 again. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Schroll gets her going. And that's out number 2.
2 up, 2 down for Ashley Schroll. Hoping to make it 3 up, 3 down here with Ava Engwall.
Engwall reached base on 1 ball in play. That was an error out in center field in Game 1. Hitless in that game. She takes pitch 1 on the outside edge for a strike.
Had some good production out of the Green Knight batters in Game number 1, but Engwall was not one of them.
Swing and a miss. 0-2 count now on Engwall.
Schroll is bringing the heat.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. That's grounded straight back to Schroll. Easy play for out number 3, and it's 3 up, 3 down to get this one going. Ash Schroll dealing on the mound. That hit sends us to the bottom of the first. Cougars coming up to the plate for their first time in Game number 2 here on the Cougars Sports Network. Welcome back to the CUC softball field. Cougars coming up to the plate for the first time this game. Emily Garcia once again leading it off for the Cougars.
After Ashley Stroll was 3 up, 3 down in the top of the first, Cougars hoping that they can get some hits and be the first one to get on the leaderboard.
Cassie Schultz starting the game on the mound for St. Norbert, sends that one high for a ball. And Schultz, it has been a rough season on the mound for her so far. She started one game, has 3 appearances, 5 innings pitched through those appearances, giving up 10 earned runs. ERA sits at 14 right now.
Anytime you have an ERA in the double digits, that is very much not good.
2-0 pitch in the dirt for ball 3. And a great start to Emily Garcia's day, already in a hitter's count. 3-0 pitch on the way. That's above the head for ball 4. 4-pitch walk to get it going for the Cougars. There's a man on with no outs for Caitlin Smith.
That's an easy at-bat for Emily Garcia. She just had to stand there and watch 4 pitches go by. Then she just trots down to first base.
Smith, 13 games played in, 10 games started this season for the Cougs, and she lays down a bunt that goes foul. Bounced up off the ground on into her own elbow, so that'll go down as a strike, make it an 0-1 count to start her as-bat. Smith on the season through 26 at-bats, hitting .385, getting on base at a .515 percentage, better than anyone else on the Cougars. Shows bunt again. This time she gets it down. That'll advance Garcia to second. Smith forced out at first, so that's out number 1 for St. Norbert's. But now they got to deal with a runner on second with Jess Gang coming up to the plate.
Jess Gang is one of those hitters that you do not want to see come up with runners on. She has some power behind her bat. She can rocket the ball into the outfield.
Schultz steals. That's high and outside, ball 1. Gang had one of the Cougars' only 2 hits in game 1, a double to left field. And she takes a 1-0 pitch on the low part of the zone for a strike. First called strike Schultz is dealt today.
And the Cougars were able to get runners on even though they only had 2 hits. They had a lot of walks, but then they just couldn't get those runners around to score.
1-1 pitch. That's up the middle, fielded by Sprong, over to first in time. Garcia's held up at third. So that the ground out advances the runner to third, and now with 2 outs, there's a runner on third for Maya Lorenas.
Again, she's been in a bit of a drought recently. She was hoping to get out of that in game 1, wasn't really able to do so.
Lorenas hasn't had a hit in the last 3 games for the Cougars. A mini slump she's going to try to break out of in game 2.
And now's the perfect time to do it. You got a runner on third. Good solid hit. Brings that run around to score.
1-0 pitch. Lorenas lets it go for ball 2. And Lorenas just had a couple of tough breaks in game 1. I mean, it felt like 5-6 times the Cougars would have a well-hit grounder, a well-hit line drive that ended up just straight at second base. And Lorena's a victim of that more than once, but she finds herself in a 2-1 count. That pitch just catching the top of the zone.
Yeah, and for the Green Knights game 1 victory, you definitely got to give some credit to the impressive defensive fielding of the infield.
2-1 pitch, Lorenas. There it is, grounder to second for out number 3. St. Norbert's allows a leadoff runner and gets the next 3 outs, so it stays even 0-0 as we head to the top of the second. Addison Race leading off for the Green Knights when we come back. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. Leading off for the St. Norbert's Green Knights in the top of the second, it's Addison Race.
Green Knights went 3 up, 3 down against Ashley Schroll in inning number 1, hoping to break that trend here.
Race came into the game as a pitcher at the very end of game 1, flew out to right field on one pitch, and she takes that first pitch low in the zone for a strike. On deck is Morgan Hansel in the hole, Haley Melizova. And Race 1-1 count, takes that pitch inside.
Schroll very efficient on the mound in the first inning. Felt like it was over very quickly.
Here's the 1-1 from Schroll. Catches the outside corner. Strike 2.
This perfect ball placement by Schroll to catch the edge of the corner.
1-2 pitch on the way. That's grounded her up the middle. Over to short. Santos to first for out number 1.
That makes it 4 up, 4 down for Ashley Schroll. Hoping she make it 5 up, 5 down here with Morgan Hansel.
Morgan Hansel coming up to the plate for St. Norbert's, and Hansel had a pair of hits in game 1, both of them grounders into left field. 1 RBI in that game as well. Schroll gets the call, winds, fires, and that's fouled right back towards the box for strike 1.
Just got a little bit underneath that one, only caught the bottom part of it. That's what sent it backwards up here over our heads.
0-1 count on Hansel. Schroll winds, fires again. That's lined right to first. Smile Lorenas snags that right in front of her face for out number 2.
That was a hard hit ball for Hansel, but Lorenas didn't even have to move, just moved her glove a little bit across the body and made the catch.
Haley Melezova now stepping up to the plate for the Cougars. Melezova hitless in game 1 as well. And a big swing and a miss. Couldn't keep up with the heat from Schroll.
Schroll can send some fastballs blazing past batters.
0-1 pitch. Winds, fires. High for ball 1. Now what's separating Schroll so far in this start from, most of the pitchers you've seen today from either team is her ability to work the edges of the zone. She doesn't have to go too far into the zone to make sure that she can hit it. She's able to work those edges. She's able to take control of the at-bat, control where the batter's looking. And she hasn't really been behind in really any counts so far as she faces her 6th batter. 1-2 count. That pitch low in the zone makes it even.
Yeah, we saw in game 1, and pitchers for both teams just didn't have control around the corners. They weren't able to paint them properly, but Schroll's been doing that well so far today.
2-2 pitch. That's fouled off onto Division Street, right in front of the Hyundai driving by. Stays a 2-2 count with 2 outs, no runners on. That pitch high and out, full count on Melizova.
Schroll just trying to get this last pitch by Melizova for out 3.
3-2 pitch. That's short grounder to third. Anderson can't field it. That took an awkward bounce. And Melizova gets lucky. Some rut in the dirt on third base turned a high chopper into a soft roller. And Anderson had to try and fall backwards to even have a chance towards it, and she couldn't grab it.
Yeah, it just hit the ground and then all of a sudden slowed down and cut to the left. But now Green Knights got their first runner on today.
Touch of luck for the first hit of the day for St. Norbert's, as the first pitch to Jarvie is high and outside for a ball.
Schroll now just got to shake that weird hit off and get the batter out for out number 3.
1-0 pitch. 1-1, big swing and a miss from Jarvie. And Jarvie drove in that insurance run in the top of the 6th in game 1. Here's a 1-1 pitch from Schroll. Jarvie tried to check, but she had it lined up, and it's fouled off straight towards the dugout.
Yeah, she realized at the last second that was coming in high and inside, and she tried to pull back, but at that point, bottom of her bat was too far around.
1-2 pitch off the outside edge for ball 2. 2-2 count on Jarvie. Melizova sits over at first. 2 outs. Schroll winds, fires, foul back.
And again, we're seeing that defensiveness from the North Park hitters when they have 2 strikes on them. They're just guarding the plate.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Schroll steps back onto the rubber. She'll wind, fire. That's high for ball 3. It's another full count.
Schroll hoping that, unlike with the last batter, she can get the 3rd strike here and send St. Norbert to the bottom of the inning.
That's lifted towards right field. Paoluna on the move. Can't make the play in foul territory, so it'll stay a full count.
She went on a run to try to chase it down, but in the end was unable to, so this at-bat keeps going.
3-2 count on Jarvie. Schroll winds, fires. Pop foul again. These long at-bats that ended up costing the Cougars in game 1. Schroll trying to get out of the top of the 2nd and leave a runner on first. Winds, fires. Inside corner, gets her looking.
Perfect placement by Ashley Schroll to get the batter looking and to get out of the inning.
Ash Schroll, her 2nd strikeout of the day. We stay scoreless. It's 0-0 coming up with the bottom of the 2nd. Cougars going to be led off by Joe Anderson in just a minute. Welcome back to River Forest. Joe Anderson leading off the bottom of the 2nd for the Cougars. Back in action after taking a break in game 1 of today's doubleheader.
Cougars were able to get the lead-off batter, Emily Garcia, on in the bottom of the 1st, but then just had 3 straight outs, hoping that they can score a run here.
Schultz back out for another inning of work. She tosses that one on the low outside edge for strike 1. 0-1 count on Anderson. Schultz gets the call, winds, fires, and Anderson fouls that off into the trees for strike 2.
A lot of balls been hit down onto Division Street, but no cars hit yet today.
0-2 count for Anderson. Schultz fires again. That's in the dirt for ball 1.
A little bit low. Wasn't able to pull it up and try to clip the bottom of the strike zone. Just ended up shorting it by a lot.
1-2 count now. Schultz winds, fires. That's a grounder to Schultz. Fields it. Anderson just a bit too slow to get to the bag.
It's a good race by Anderson, but fortunately for her, the throw beat her by just about a step.
Yeah, and Schultz made that harder on herself than she needed to. Just kind of let that ball bounce a couple times right in front of her before she finally picked it up. So now stepping up to the plate, Kyler Morris. Morris picked up the only RBI the Cougars had in game 1. And she takes that first pitch out for a ball.
And that hit came in the bottom of the second at game 1, so she's hoping that she can get another hit in the bottom of the second inning here.
Bring it a 1-1 count, that catches the inside edge. Schultz fires again. And Morris up the middle for a base hit. Linson gets it back in. The Cougars have their first hit of the day. McKyler Morris tags another ground ball single. And with 1 out, the Cougars have a man on first with Arissa Santos coming up to the plate.
And that was a perfect hit by Morris. It was just out of reach of the shortstop Sprong. She just couldn't grab it. Ended up going into the outfield. Now the Cougars again got a runner on first.
Santos, nothing but walks in game 1 as Morris going for second, and she's out.
That was a perfect throw by the catcher to just nail Morris.
It was actually, I wouldn't say that was a perfect throw. It worked out. Morris came in high. The throw was too high into the right. Sprong had to come around the bag for it, but Morris came in high, didn't go down early. And they just had to lay it on her. So another runner gets caught stealing for the Cougars. Santos with a 2-0 count in the bag now with 2 outs. As she pops that into foul territory. First strike of the at-bat.
Right fielder and second baseman both made runs at it, but neither one of them could quite reach it before it hit the ground.
2-1 count on Santos. Schultz gets the call. Wines fires again. And that's popped up to second base. Malitseva able to reach over Zasada and work through the miscommunication to make the play. Another 4-batter inning for St. Norbert's. We head to the top of the third. It's still scoreless here in River Forest. Madeline Handman leading off for the Green Knights right after this. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. Magdalene Handman leading off for St. Norbert's. St. Norbert's got their first base runner on an error last inning. Trying to do a little more in the top of the third. Jump out in front if they can, as that pitch is low for a ball. 1-0 count to start the at-bat on Handman. Troll winds, fires, and that's chopped foul.
Good contact by Hammond. Went right off the barrel, but just went very far right the second it went off the bat.
1-1 count. Handman steps back into the box. Troll fires, and that's grounded to short. Santos fields over to first in time. Out number 1.
Long throw from the shortstop beats Handman by a step. So we got 1 out. St. Norbert still trying to get their first hit of the game.
Andrea. Adriana Voles stepping into the box to lead off the inning without one out for St. Norbert. Takes that first pitch for a strike. And an ugly swing from Voles for strike two. Schroll ran that up in honor.
Yeah, Voles just had no chance of hitting that one with that swing.
0-2 count now. Schroll winds, fires. 3-pitch strikeout, gets her looking.
Fantastic final pitch by Schroll. Got it, clipped the inside of the strike zone for strike number 3.
Exactly what the Cougars need, and every time we've seen a Cougars pitcher today get into an 0-2 count, they went outside. Schroll stays aggressive, stays attacking, and Vol is not expecting it, heads back to the dugout. And Zoe Zasada up to the plate for the second time today, takes that first pitch low for a ball. 1-0 pitch, makes it a 2-0 count.
Schroll trying to get her to chase with that one, keeping it outside. Zasada didn't bite.
2-0 pitch on the way. Schroll calls time, steps off.
Reconsidering her pitch choice, looks like.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. Grounded straight back up the middle for a base hit. Morris fields in the outfield, gets it back in. That holds Zasada at first. First hit of the day for St. Norbert's.
Schroll tried to field it, but just couldn't get her glove down in time. And got right past her over the second base bag into the grass.
Zasada on first now for Grendel Sprong. Sprong struck out swinging in the first inning. And pops that to third. Anderson barely moves to make the play, and that's out number 3. St. Norbert strands a runner on. They pick up their first hit of the day. We head to the bottom of the third. It's still even here in River Forest. Cougs coming up to bat in just a moment. Welcome back to River Forest. Lindley Southern leading off the bottom of the third for the Cougars. We're all still even here in Game 2 of today's doubleheader. Cassie Schultz back out for another inning of work. Made quick work of the Cougars in the bottom of the second. And the first pitch dealt to Southern is outside for a ball.
In the bottom of the second, Cougars got their first hit of the game. Kyler Morris got a single, but was then thrown out trying to steal seconds.
And Southern grounds that to third. It's knocked down by Jarvie. And then the throw over to Engwall isn't picked, but it's off of Southern legs, so she stays at first. And that'll get scored as a base hit for Lindley Southern. So another leadoff batter on for the Cougars. No outs for Julia Padaluna. And she grounds that over to third, over to second to get the lead runner. Fielder's choice picks up out number 1, keeps the runner at first. So with 1 out and a man on, that brings Emily Garcia back up to the plate for the second time today.
Cougars are now back to the top of their batting order. Hoping that Garcia, who walked in her first at bat, can get on base again here.
First pitch goes for a ball. Garcia drew a 4-pitch walk to start the day off. One 1-0 pitch on the outside edge for strike one.
Garcia looking to get a good hit here. Move Pataluna at least to second, put 2 on with only 1 away.
And that's popped up into short right field, and the play's made by Melizova, who stays locked in on defense, reaches out, brings it in for out number 2.
In terms of fielding MVPs for St. Norbert today, Melizova is definitely number 1.
Now up to the plate, Caitlin Smith. Smith got out on a sac bunt her last time up at the plate.
Two outside, removes the sac bunt scenario. She's got to swing for it now.
1-0 pitch. Smith takes it low, ball 2. Now it's 2-0 pitch on the way from Schultz. And Smith fouls that down the first baseline.
Made great contact with that one. Fortunately, it was foul all the way. She can keep that one fair, though. That would have dropped deep in the outfield. Moved Pataluna to probably third.
Yeah, Smith just got behind the fastball. Now 2-1 count. Schultz deals. Takes that one in. Even count. 2-2.
2's all across the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
Schultz winds, fires. Another foul ball for Smith.
Smith keeping her at bat alive and also keeping the inning alive.
Schultz winds up again. That's just high and out. Full count on Smith. Runner at first, 2 outs. Full count. Schultz winds, fires. And that's lifted into left field. Handman settles under it for out number 3. The Cougars strand another. We head to the top of the 4th. It's still a scoreless game here in River Forest. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. We're still even at 0-0 in the top of the 4th. Ash Schroll still on the mound for the Cougs. Ava Engwall leading off for St. Norbert. She grounded out to the pitcher's mound her first time up at the plate. And a swing and a miss. Schroll gets out ahead of her with the fastball for strike number 1.
Green Knights only able to get 1 total hit in the first 3 innings. Hoping that these next 4 go a little bit better.
That pitch just off the plate for a ball.
Schroll's been bringing the heat from the mound today. St. Norbert just hasn't been able to keep up with her.
1-1 count on Engwall, and she fouls that off over towards Grace Lutheran, makes it a 1-2 count. 1-2 count on Engwall. Schroll fires high for ball 2.
The attempt to get Engwall chasing high did not work out as it just soared a little too much. Engwall did not buy it at all.
Now here's a 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Schroll gets her going again. And Engwall heads back to the dugout. That's out number 1. 4th K of the day for Ash Schroll. And that brings Addison Race back up to the plate. Race grounded out short her last time at the plate. Schroll fires. Outside, ball 1.
Schroll's just been very dialed in today here in the second game. She's just been painting the corners and just throwing heaters past the St. Norbert batters.
Make it a 1-1, catching the outside edge.
She's been good at just consistently catching the outside corners as well as the inside corners, just something that the Cougars struggled with in game 1.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Foul tip back for strike 2. 1-2 count on Race. That's fouled off, so Race will stay alive at least one more pitch.
And again, when the St. Norbert batters have two strikes on them, they go into defensive mode where they're swinging at everything that looks good. And as a result, they've been hitting a lot of foul balls today.
1-2 count on Race. Schroll fires. That's fouled off again. Still a 1-2 count on Race. Hansel standing on deck. Schroll winds, fires. That's lifted into right field. That will get down for a base hit. Race will hold at first. It's 1 out single for the designated player. And with 1 out and a man on, Morgan Hansel will come up to the plate.
That was just a good hit by Race. We saw with the last pitch, she didn't have the timing just right. She sent it foul. With that one, though, she sent it right down the third base line and dropped it fair.
And a pinch runner headed in for Addison Race. Ava Champeau serving as a pinch runner once again.
We saw her come in a bit as a pinch runner in the first game, being used again in game 2.
Hansel fouls that first pitch up and back for strike 1.
St. Norbert's now got a runner on with only 1 out. They'd love to be able to strike first here in game 2.
Schroll fires. That's lifted and fouled over to the sidewalk for strike 2. 0-2 count on Hansel. Runner at first. Melizova standing on deck. Schroll sets, winds, fires off the edge of the plate for ball 1. One, 2 count, 1 out, runner at first. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 gets her looking, and that's strikeout number 5 on the day for Ash Schroll.
You want to hear something crazy, Jonathan? Schroll came into the day with 6 strikeouts on the season. She's 1 away from doubling her season total just in this game.
She has been aggressively attacking the zone against St. Norbert's today, and it is working out against these Green Knights hitters. She gets Melizova swinging that one outside for strike 1. Yeah, and you look at her pitch spread today. 62 pitches thrown for Schroll. 44 of them have been strikes. Just 18 balls as that's popped up down the first baseline. Lorenas charges and makes the play for out number 3. That St. Norbert's picks up their second hit of the day, but they strand a runner on first. It's another 3-out, 4-batter inning for Ash Schroll. 2 strikeouts. We're halfway through game 2, still scoreless, 0-0 as you head to the bottom of the 4th. Jess Gang lead it off for the Cougars right after this break. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. Jess Gang leading it off for the Cougars. And it's an old face back on the mound for St. Norbert's. Bailey Thielen returns to the rubber after starting game 1. Went 4 innings, only gave up 1. She's looking to have a similar or even better performance in game 2.
Yeah, the performance we saw out of Thielen in game 1 was her best performance of the season. Hoping that she can keep her good day rolling.
1-0 pitch. Low for ball 2. Two 2-0 count on Gang. Thielen winds, fires. That's catches the top of the zone for strike 1. Gang 0 for 1 in this game, grounded out her last at-bat.
And we know Gang's got some power behind her swing. She can smash the ball if she makes good contact.
And she does. Lifts that to left field. Handman settles under it. Fly out for Jess Gang. That's out number 1. That brings Maya Lorenas back up to the plate. Lorenas continuing that 3 going on 4 game slump. 0 for 1 in this game. Grounded out to second her last time at the plate. Thielen fires, catches the outside edge for strike 1.
You know Lorenas would love to finally get a hit and break out of that hit drought she's been going through.
0-1 count on Lorenas. Thielen sets, winds, fires. And Lorenas does it. Base hit into left field, splits the fielders. And the Cougars, with 1 out, have a runner on first. That brings Joe Anderson up to the plate.
Lorenas finally managed to break that streak, so now you're hoping that, hey, she finally got the one to break the drought. Now in her upcoming at-bats in this game, she'll just be able to get even more hits.
First pitch to Anderson, low and in for a ball. Thielen sets. 1-0 pitch on the way. And Anderson pops that into right field. Zacida's there to make the play. That's out number 2. Now Kyler Morris coming up to the plate with 2 outs and a runner on first. Morris had a single up the middle of the infield before she got caught stealing her last time up at the plate.
She'd love to make up for that mistake there with another good hit.
Big swing and a miss for Kyler Morris to kick off this at-bat. 0-1 count.
Hansel walked Lorenas back to first after that one.
0-1 pitch. And that's fouled back for strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes on Morris. Cougars have a runner on first, 2 outs. Thielen winds, fires. That's off the plate for ball 1.
And the teams have been able to get runners on, just haven't been able to string together consecutive good at-bats to score one of the runners.
Yeah, St. Norbert, they've stranded 3 on. The Cougars, they do strand Lorenas on. They'd also have stranded 3 on. Now Morris pops that into center field for out number 3. And the Cougars strand a runner on at first, both of these teams. 3 runners left on base today. We're through 4. It is still scoreless here in River Forest. Green Knight 0, Concordia 0. St. Norbert's coming back up to the plate in the top of the 5th in just a minute. Welcome back to River Forest. Morgan Jarvie stepping up to the plate for St. Norbert's. Jarvie struck out looking her last time up at the plate. Ash Schroll back on the mound for another inning of work. She catches the high corner for strike 1.
Schroll has just been doing a great job with her command today. She's been able to just paint the outside and inside corners.
0-1 pitch. Popped up in the infield. Schroll's there to make the play. That's out number 1. And that pitch just ran in on Jarvie. She also got ahead of it in just an awkward pop-up.
Yeah, went to a spot where she wasn't expecting it. She was ahead. As a result, 1 out on the board.
1 out for Magdalene Hanman. Hanman grounded out to short her last time up at the plate. She takes that first pitch low and in for a ball. 1-0 pitch. Catches the high part of the zone for strike 1. 1-1 count now on Hanman. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Schroll sets, winds, fires. Right back up the middle. Schroll does a second late on her reaction time. It's a base hit for Magdalene Hanman.
And again, St. Norbert's got a runner on with 1 out. Let's see if this time, if they can actually manage to bring that runner around to score.
Andriana Voles up to the plate for St. Norbert's. Voles struck out looking her last time up at the plate. Now Schroll winds, fires. Voles shows bunt, fielded by Schroll over to first for out number 2. Now St. Norbert's, they're trying to manufacture the run. That's a runner in scoring position with 2 outs for Zoe Zasada.
They're trying to use small ball to get them around to score, which, to be fair, it worked for them in game number 1, and they got their 3 runs off some very small ball. Now they got a runner in scoring position with 2 outs.
Zasada, hard ground ball, single up the middle of the infield her last time up at the plate. Takes first pitch on the outside of the zone for a strike.
Yeah, Zasada had, up until that hit, 1 of 2 St. Norbert hits on the day.
70 pitches now for Schroll. 51 of them have been strikes. That one low and in for ball 2. Just the 20th ball thrown from Schroll this game. 1-1 count on Zasada. Schroll sets, winds, fires. That's off the outside of the plate for ball 2.
She was again trying to find that outside line of the strike zone. That one was just a little bit too far outside, though.
Yeah, just trying not to give Zasada too much to hit with a runner in scoring position. 2-1 pitch on the way. That's easily off the edge. Schroll going there the whole way for ball 3. 3-1 count on Zasada. Grendel Sprong standing on deck. 2 outs and a runner on second for the Green Knights. Schroll winds, deals. That's inside for ball 4. Zasada heads to first on a 5-pitch walk. And we'll have our first mound visit of the day for the Cougars.
Schroll's been pitching well in the first 4 2/3 innings. Now she's just got to get her control back, ignore the runners on first and second. She's got 2 outs. She only needs to get 1 more out to get out of this inning.
Yeah, that's just the first walk given up today for Ash Schroll. Now she got Grendel Sprong coming up to the plate. Grendel Sprong popped out to third her last time up at the plate. Similar situation, had a runner in scoring position. Now Sprong trying to do something with it this at-bat. Runners at first and second, 2 outs for Sprong. First pitch catches the outside edge. Gang holds the runners stationed on their bases. 0-1 count on Sprong. 0 for 2 on the day. Schroll fires. That catches the top of the zone. Strike 2. 0-2 count on Sprong. Schroll attacking the zone, trying to get through inning number 5. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That's off the outside edge for ball 1.
Schroll tried to go to that outside line again. That one just a little bit too far outside, though, to catch the edge of the zone.
1-2 pitch on the way. Foul tipped back. Sprong just staying alive. Stays a 1-2 count.
Yeah, Sprong was behind on that one. Edge of her bat caught the ball just as it was coming around, sent it foul.
1-2 pitch. That's off the edge of the plate again, ball 2. Two count. Gust of wind blows dust around as Schroll sets, fires. That's grounded to second, fielded by Smith. Over to first, out number 3. The Cougs get out of it. St. Norbert strands 2 on. We're through 4.5 innings. It is still scoreless. In River Forest, Concordia Chicago coming up to bat in the bottom of the 5th, looking to score the first runs of the day. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. Arissa Santos up to the plate for Concordia Chicago. Santos popped out to second her last time up at the plate. Bailey Thielen back out on the mound for another ending of work.
Made quick work of the Cougs in the bottom of the 4th.
Now Thielen sets, minds, fires. Santos takes that on the outside of the zone for strike 1.
Nice pitch by Thielen. So far here in game number 2, she's replicating what she did in the first 4 innings of game 1.
0-1 pitch up at the head for ball 1. 1-1 count now. You talk about leaving runners on base. The Cougars left 3 through 4. St. Norbert's left 5 on base through 5. And those stranded runners start to hurt a bit more in a scoreless game as Santos pops that up in the infield. Play is made by Engwall for out number 1.
Engwall ran over to make the catch, called off the pitcher, called off the second baseman. grabbed it, put out one on the board for St. Norbert.
Yeah, and first off, Joss Sprong initially called for it before directing it over to Engwall. That wind picking up today. It's still blowing north, but blowing much stronger. The American flag out in left field, pretty much straight out at this point. So anything up in the air, it's getting blown to the right of the screen as Southern grounds that to third, bobbled by Jarvie. Throw still beats Southern. That's out number 2.
Good run right out of the box by Southern, but despite the bobble, Jarvie's throw was able to catch her by just about a step.
2 outs for Julia Padaluna. Padaluna grounded into a fielder's choice her last time up at the plate. And she'll take that first pitch from Thielen in the zone for a strike. 0-1 count on Padaluna. Pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. Never even caught up to that one.
Yeah, she was far behind that fastball there. Hoping that now with an 0-2 count she can catch up a little bit.
Thielen deals. That's low and out for ball 1.
Man, that wind's really blowing down the right field line now. Earlier it was just flickering. Now, like you said, that flag is straight out.
1-2 pitch fouled off again to division. But yeah, I mean, that wind won't do much with powering balls out, but what that will do is any balls hit up in the air, if it's going to be a pop-up, a foul ball, that's made that job just tougher for the fielders. You got to judge now the wind factor on the ball's path in the air. As Southern checks her swing, ball 2.
Yeah, Padaluna thought about going on that one, but pulled back at the last second.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the baseball game here back on Monday. A lot of routine fly balls, pop-ups turning into hits for both teams because the wind. Now Southern pops that into right field. Play is made by Zasada. Out number 3. Cougars go 3 up, 3 down. Thielen keeps dealing. We head to the top of the 6. Still scoreless in River Forest. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. Ava Engwall stepping up to the plate for St. Norbert's. Ash Schroll out for another inning of work for the Cougs. And here's the first pitch of the inning, inside for a ball.
Schroll allowed a pair of base runners in the top of the 5th, but was then able to pitch her way out of it. Keep the game scoreless.
1-0 count on Engwall. That pitch low, ball 2. I haven't seen Schroll fall behind the count like this very often today.
Now her command has been impeccable so far today.
2-0 pitch on the way. That catches the zone, strike 1. And the Cougars, I mean, Schroll is the hot hand, just trying to leave her out there, keep that hot hand going. I mean, you haven't scored any runs on offense either. Neither team has. This is a pitcher's duel. And you don't want to risk losing that pitching momentum by throwing a new arm out on the mound. That's fouled back, makes it a 2-2 count for Engwall.
Yeah, especially when Schroll's been pitching very well. Sure, there was 2 runners in the 5th, but she pitched her way out of it pretty easily, so it's definitely worth it to just keep her in now.
2-2 count. That's fouled back by Engwall. Got way up for that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Schroll steps back onto the rubber. Now she'll wind and fire. That's a grounded over to second. Smithfield's over to first. Out number 1.
1 up, 1 down here in inning number 6. And again, Schroll's been pitching excellent today. Just hasn't gotten any help from the Cougar bats.
Addison Rice stepping back up to the plate for the Green Knights. Got singled to right field her last time at the plate before being subbed out for a pinch runner. She takes that first pitch high for ball 1.
Yeah, Rice has 1 of 3 Green Knight hits in game number 2.
1-0 count on Race. Schroll winds, fires, and she steps off the mound mid-motion. Bach goes for a ball. 2-0 count on Race. 2-0 pitch. That's fouled down the right field line for strike 1. Again, Race just not able to keep up with that one. We saw this in her last at-bat. Ended up working in a single right on the foul line in right field, but she's struggling to time up the pitches that Schroll is dealing.
Yeah, with her last at-bat, it felt like she was behind on everything.
2-1 count on Race. Schroll winds, fires. That's foul back again, late on it again. I mean, she's not the only player on this Green Knights lineup that's struggling with that, and that's really where Schroll's been going. Command and speed to deal with this St. Norbert's lineup so far, and it's still working in the 6th inning. 2-2 count on Race. 1 out, no men on. Schroll winds, fires. That's fouled off again. Through the trees once more, stays a 2-2 count. Schroll cracking 90 pitches.
And at this point, you just want her to get out of the innings and at-bats as efficiently as possible and not just keep wearing down her arm.
2-2 pitch. That's foul down the first baseline. Spin on it, carried it out. Lorena's eyes got big at that one. Would have been an easy out if it stayed in. Still a 2-2 count on Race, but that is one of the things with softball, with the way your pitching motion goes. Those pitch counts, for a long start, you can see those pitch counts tick up higher than you would in a baseball game. As Schroll fires that one in for a ball. Full count on Race. Three-two pitch on the way. Popped up to the pitcher's mound. And safe, an infield single for Addison Race, who just bloops that one down as well. It's a multi-hit day for the designated player with 1 out and a runner on.
And Schroll called off that one, let the first baseman take it. It might have just been better for her to try to go for it. Would have been a less run for her. She would have had to backpedal a little bit, but might have been an easier play.
It's a new pitch runner for the Green Knights. Savannah Jandrin stands over at first, replacing Addison Race. Standing in is Hansel, bunts that down the third baseline, and it goes foul. A good hold from Joe Anderson to not let the sack bunt work, and that makes it a 0-1 count.
Yeah, that bunt started off fair, but was quickly spin and foul. It was a good play by Anderson to just call off and watch it go out.
And with where that was, that would have been a tough play to make at first either way. 0-1 count on Hansel. Shows bunt again. This one's fair. Fielded over to first for the out. Easy play that time. That advances the runner to second, 2 outs. St. Norbert's trying to manufacture that run again.
Yeah, we saw them do this exact same strategy in the last inning and got a runner on with 1 out. Sack bunt, move the runner to seconds. And now you swing away with 2 outs.
2 outs, and stepping up to the plate is Haley Melizova. Popped out in foul territory her last time up at the plate. Has one of the Green Knights' 4 hits today. And she watches that one go on the outside edge for strike 1. 0-1 count on Melizova. Schroll fires. That's popped up towards short. Santos under it for the play. Out number 3 through 6.5. Through 5.5, we are scoreless. Schroll continues a great day out on the rubber. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Still scoreless. Cougars coming up to the bat. Still trying to be the first team to get on the board. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. Bottom of the 6th, still scoreless between the Cougars and the Green Knights. Emily Garcia stepping up to the plate for the Cougars.
Got the top of the Cougars batting order coming back up, hoping that they can break this scoreless game.
And timeout called by the Green Knights, looking over their dugout. Thielen back out for another inning of work. Deals that one on the outside edge for a strike. Thielen has been great since she came back into this game. 2 innings, just 22 pitches thrown, dicing the Cougars lineup so far. 0-1 count on Garcia. Pitch on the way. And Garcia fouls that off, makes it 0-2.
Thielen really just having the best day of the season so far. 4 great innings in game 1, now 2 great innings in game 2.
0-2 pitch gets her going on the high heat. That's out number 1. 3-pitch strikeout for Bailey Thielen. Caitlin Smith coming up to plate for the Cougars. Flew out to left field her last time up at the plate. And she'll take the first pitch high for a ball.
And really, the story of this game has been that the two teams just have not been able to string together consecutive good at-bats. They haven't been able to get more than 1 hit in an inning.
That's fouled down by Smith for strike 1. 1-1 count, 1 out, no runners on. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Smith under it and behind it for strike 2. 1-2 count now. Thielen sets, winds, fires. And that's popped over to third. Jarvie makes the play for out number 2.
Now batting for the Cougars, catcher number 12,
Now Jess Gang coming up, hoping that she can get on base and that hopefully that'll kickstart this Cougars offense.
Jess Gang flew out to left her last time up at the plate. Thielen fires outside for ball 1. One-0 count on Gang. Thielen fires, and Gang pops that to midfield. Linson's there to make the play. And we head to the, as Adriana Voll was in center actually, we head to the top of the 7th. 6 innings, all scoreless here in River Forest. It's a pitcher's duel west of Chicago. And we head to the top of the 7th. St. Norbert's coming up to plate. Morgan Jarvie leading off for the Green Knights right after this break. Welcome back to River Forest to a scoreless top of the 7th at 0-0. Morgan Jarvie stepping up to the plate for the Green Knights. Jarvie 0 for 2 on the day, popped out to the pitcher's mound her last time up at the plate. Ash Stroll back out on the mound for another inning of work for the Cougs. Deals that one high for ball 1.
Stroll's been almost flawless through the first 6, only given up 4 hits.
And that's popped towards right field, down for a blue pit.
Looked like that throw went off the leg of Jarvie, though.
That's a first batter base hit. No outs, runner on first for St. Norbert's.
This is the best position that the Green Knights have been in a while. Got a runner on with no outs.
It's another perfectly placed ball, not necessarily well hit. And there's a foul bunt back from Hanman.
That bunt went right back and out.
Schroll cracks 100 pitches with that one. 0-1 count on Hanman.
And you wonder, John, if this game ends up going into extra innings, how long you keep Schroll in for.
Now Schroll wind and fire. There's another bunt down the third baseline. Anderson can't field it cleanly, but she does get it over to first in time for out number 1. The sack bunt advances to Jarvie, but this time that sack bunt is done with still 2 outs to go.
Mm-hmm. I've seen the last few innings, they've been bunting, and it puts 2 outs with a runner at second. Now they got a runner at second and only 1.
Voles up to the plate now. Fouls first pitch back. Makes it an 0-1 count. Voles at the plate. Zasada on deck. No balls. 1 strike, 1 out. Jarvie over at second for the Green Knights. Schroll fires. Swing and a miss for Voles. Makes it an 0-2 count. Under and behind that one. 0-2 pitch on the way. High, ball 1. Why not go back to the high above the zone spot? Just got the swing and a miss there. Don't get the swing and a miss again. Voles wises up to it. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way from Schroll. Popped foul back again.
Voles keeping her at bat alive.
That's exactly what St. Norbert's needs to happen. Just, again, what they've been trying to do, they haven't been able to do what won them the game in the first game, just manufacturing runs. Long at-bats, walks, errors, hits. And there's another base hit into center field. Morris guns that in. They hold Jarvie at third. Third base coach nearly made a big mistake sending her home. And now it's runners at the corners with 1 out for St. Norbert's. The best opportunity either team has had today.
Now batting right field, number 5, Zoe Zasada.
100% Jonathan. St. Norbert's got runner on third now. Only 1 out, so even if you give up a deep fly ball that's caught in the back of the outfield, you can still tag up and score. And at that point, just 1 run might be enough to win you the game.
You need a quick out with Zoe Zasada up at the plate now. A strikeout, an infield pop-up, something to keep the runners where they are. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see that sack bunt attempt, though.
I also would not be surprised. It'd be a good situation where if you try to go for the rocket to first, you might end up allowing the run to score.
And there it is. Shows bunt, pulls back. Voles steals second, so that takes away the double play opportunity. Not the most likely thing anyways, and that's not the runner you're most concerned with right now.
Now you're concerned about that runner standing on third, Morgan Jarvie.
Second and third, 1 out. Schroll deals. That's high for ball 1.
You got ones all across the board, 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out.
Schroll steps back up to the rubber. Now she'll wind, fire, swing and a miss. Strike 2 on Zasada. Zasada pressing a bit with that one. Schroll dealing her outside the zone. 1-2 count now. Schroll, Zasada at the plate. Sprong on deck. Schroll winds, fires. That's a grounder to second. Jarvie holds at third, and this is going to be a double play. Got a run down, maybe. Go home. Get the out. Double play. The Cougars defense locks in, and a horrible base running mistake from St. Norbert. Adriana Voles loses the heads-up play, and they waste a second and third one-out opportunity.
And everything that went wrong there for St. Norbert could have gone wrong. First, they got the sack bunt, ended up just being an out at first. And then, like you said, Voles just was way off second, so they had her in a rundown. That forced Jarvie to go, and they were able to get the throw to Gang, who tagged out Jarvie going home.
And the best thing they did, they went to the rundown at second, and that caused St. Norbert to send Jarvie and immediately just send it home. You have plenty of time to get the throw down there.
Mm-hmm. Man, so now, hey, we're heading to the bottom of the seventh still. The zeros all across the board for both teams.
Maya Lorenas, Joe Anderson, Mikyler Morris coming up to the plate for the Cougars in the bottom of the seventh. This is either going to end in a Green Knights win or a Cougars walk-off today. Now that we're in the bottom of the seventh. 6.5 scoreless. Bailey Thielen back on the mound for St. Norbert's. She's been locked in all day, and St. Norbert's needs her to stay locked in for at least half an inning more. First pitch goes on the outside edge for a strike.
Now for the Cougars, all you need to do, if you can just get a hold of one good pitch and power that over the fence, that's a game.
0-1 count on Lorenas. Base hit up the middle of the field. Lorenas on first, and the Cougars have a man on with no outs.
Just got to get her around 3 more bases, and this is a walk-off Cougar win. Their issues have been stringing together consecutive good hits.
Thielen fires. Inside edge for a strike. 0-1 count on Anderson. Thielen fires. That's high for ball one.
The 1-1 count now. You're probably not going for a stolen base in this scenario unless it gets past the catcher.
1-1 count. Thielen fires. That's popped foul down the first baseline. They can't get there in time. It'll be strike 2. Anderson's 0 for 2 on the day with a ground out and a fly out.
Now's a perfect time for her to have her first hit.
And now Thielen's going to be trying to do what Schroll did in the last inning. Short grounder, strikeout, that sort of thing. That one's in the dirt. Lorenas holds it first. Two-two count on Anderson. Thielen sets, winds, fires. Inside edge, strike 3. Anderson goes down looking. Thielen dices her up for a much-needed strike out number 1. And that brings Mikyler Morris up to the plate for the Cougs. Morris had a base hit earlier in the game, flew out to center her last time up at the plate.
If she can poke one above the head of the shortstop.
Now Thielen dishes that one high for ball 1. I mean, Thielen's pitch count's so down as well. Only 39 thrown through 3 1/3.
And she's been very efficient since she came in.
Fires, and Morris lays down a bunt. Didn't get enough on it. That rolls back foul for strike 1. So now the Cougars trying to maybe do a bit of that run manufacturing. Sack bunts, just move the runners through the base paths. Morris at the plate, Santos on deck. Thielen fires, inside edge, strike 2.
Thielen's been going to that inside edge a lot because it looks like it's going to be a ball, but at the last second clips into the zone. As a result, you get a lot of Cougars batters just watching it go by.
1-2 count on Morris. Pitch on the way. Down low, ball 2. 2-2 count now on Morris.
Morris trying to help bring an end to this pitcher's duel.
Thielen winds, fires, and that's popped foul. Stays with a 2-2 count. Runner at first, 1 out for Concordia. Morris stands back in. Thielen steps back to the rubber. Winds, fires. That's high, ball 3. Full count now with 1 out.
You do not want to give up a walk here, put runners on first and second with only 1 out.
Thielen steps back to the rubber. 3-2 pitch on the way. Ball 4, low and in. Second and third now for the Cougars with 1 out. Arissa Santos up to the plate for Concordia.
Thielen having to try to pitch her way out of trouble.
1-0 pitch.
Thielen having to try to pitch her way out of trouble.
1-0 pitch. High, ball 2. Thielen falling behind the count, and Santos, one of the bigger power threats in this Concordia lineup, maybe trying to avoid that risk. There's a 2-0 in the dirt. Runners are going to try to advance, and Hansel can't field it cleanly. Second and third, 1 out, and now you can't let anything get into the outfield.
Deep fly for sure. Even a foul or even a hit in the short outfield could still bring around the runner.
3-0 count. I wouldn't be surprised to see Santos just get walked here.
Because you don't have a double play ball anymore. You only have the out at first.
3-0 pitch. There's ball 4. Thielen not taking a risk in the zone. It's the bases loaded and 1 out. And we have a pinch hitter, Emmy Lucero, stepping up to the box for Lindley Southern. There's a mound meeting out with Bailey Thielen. Thielen has to be perfect.
She's walked the last 2 batters. That's not going to work anymore. You have bases loaded. You throw another 4 balls, that ends the game.
Lucero came up to the plate in this situation last game. 9th inning pinch hitter. Popped out to first.
But now anything ground ball into the outfield is game. A fly to the middle or back of the outfield is also game. So you need either a strikeout or a pop out.
Scorecard change is official. There's going to be a pinch runner for the Cougars, too. They are prepping up for that sprint to home.
Because also, it's not just a fly out. If there's a ball that gets past the catcher and takes a nice roll, you want speed on third base.
Callie Tierney pinch running for Maya Lorenas at third. Lucero stands in. Bases loaded, 1 out. Thielen deals high, ball 1. One 0 count on Lucero. Thielen deals. That's popped foul. Strike 1.
One count for Lucero to try to do some work with.
Thielen sets, winds, fires. And that is pop foul down the third baseline. You should not make that play, but they do, and they get lucky. Concordia holds. It's just not deep enough. And that works out beautifully for St. Norbert's. The risk on the pop-up to the outfield works. It's 2 outs now.
Now you don't have to worry about giving up a deep fly ball that gets caught. You just need to get 1 out to get out of this inning and send us to extras.
Now Melissa Hajik stepping up to the plate for the Cougars. Pinch hitting for Julia Padaluna. The Cougars changing up that lineup all in the bottom of the 7th, trying to end it here. Best opportunity they've had all day. Now with 2 outs, you need a hit. Thielen sets, winds, fires. Fouled back for strike 1.
Hajik will either be the last batter of the game or she'll be the one that sends us into the top of the 8th inning.
Hajik hitless in game 1 today. 0-1 count. Pitch on the way. That's low for ball 1. One count on Hajik. Thielen fires. Off the inside edge and low. Ball 2. 2-1 count on Hajik.
Now Thielen, she's got to throw strikes. 2 more balls, and that's game.
2-1 pitch. That's lifted towards center field. Play is made, and we're getting bonus softball in River Forest. And on Saturday, the Cougars squander a bases-loaded 1-out opportunity. And St. Norbert's, they're not done yet. Bailey Thielen pitches out of a jam. We head to the top of the 8th. St. Norbert's, they stay alive. They're ready to try and attack. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. We're getting extra inning softball in River Forest at Concordia, Chicago. It's the top of the 8th. Cougars squandered a bases loaded 1-out opportunity in the bottom of the 7th. So we head to the top of the 8th. Stepping up to the plate to lead off for the Green Knights is Grendel Sprong. Ash Schroll back out on the mound for another inning of work for the Cougars. You got a little bit of bullpen activity going on for CUC. Schroll over 110 pitches now. Sprong in with a 1-0 count. Fouls that back, makes it 1-1.
Yeah, Schroll has been doing great on the mound all day today. Top of the 7th, she got herself into a jam. We got out of it with some good pitching and some unfortunate St. Norbert base running errors.
1-1 count on Sprong. Pitch on the way. Catches the zone. Strike 2.
And at this point, you can't let anything get by. You don't want a single runner to get on because that could be the winning run in this game.
Now it's a 1-2 pitch on the way. And that's foul down the third base line.
If that had stayed fair, that would have dropped for single, probably a double.
Coach Joanne Krieger down the third baseline, tensing up at that one. Stays a 1-2 count on Sprong. Schroll fires. That's fouled down to the visiting dugout again. Stays a 1-2 count.
It's back-to-back when she's fouled down the third baseline. She's hoping to straighten out just a little bit. If she can get it to fall, there's a gap there between the left fielder and third baseman.
Schroll sets, pitch on the way. Ball 2. Two balls, 2 strikes for Grendel Sprong. Strike 3 gets her look in. Strikeout number 6 on the day for Ash Schroll.
Just perfect placement by Schroll. Caught the low outside corner of the strike zone, and Sprong just watched it go by.
Ava Engwall now back up to the plate. 0 for 3 on the day. Schroll deals. Swing and a miss from Ava Engwall, way behind that one.
Engwall just not able to catch up to that Schroll pitch.
0-1 count, pitch on the way. Make it 0-2, pumps that one in.
Schroll has got that outside corner dialed in.
And Schroll is trying to slice through the top of the 8th to get her team back up to the plate while the bats are hot. Swing and a miss! Strike 3! Foul tip! Ash Schroll back-to-back Ks. And she is dialed in when the Cougars need it most. And with 2 outs in the top of the 8th, no runners on, that brings Savannah Jandrin up to the plate for the first time today. Jandrin
almost running out of the
stepping into
box.
it. So that's what, so Jandrin, a hit and run batter. You see this in softball, batters who will start running as they swing for the ball.
And
But she fouls out. Joe Anderson reaches across her body for it. 3 up, 3 down. Schroll is cooking for Concordia. And we head to the bottom of the 8th. The Cougars, another chance to win this one. Welcome back to the Cougar Sports Network. It's the bottom of the 8th, and we're still scoreless here in River Forest. Pitchers duel continues. Emily Garcia leading off the inning for the Cougars, and another old face on the mound for the Green Knights. Amber Johannick steps to the rubber for St. Norbert's. Johannick pitched the last 3 innings of Game 1, and she kept the Cougars scoreless and hitless in those 3 innings. Coach Joanne Krieger looking for another similar performance in extra innings in Game 2. 0-1 pitch on the way. In the dirt, and it hits her. And that's a leadoff runner with no outs. An ugly, ugly pitch from Amber Johannick.
That one just went straight into the dirt and then went straight into the leg of Garcia.
I mean, that hit down in the dirt 5 feet out in front of Garcia. Just got away from Johannick. So runner on, no outs for Caitlin Smith. Lays down a bunt. It's a great bunt, and she's safe at first. Garcia goes for third, and she's safe. And the Cougars produce a bunt single for Caitlin Smith.
And just like that, you have runners on the corners. You have no outs. You don't have to worry about a double play ground ball because they would have to go home. And this could be game.
Now batting for the Cougars.
Jess Gang could be the last batter of the day, knock on wood.
Runners at the corners, no outs for St. Norbert's. Their first error of the day, and it could bite them. And it's an attempt at a suicide squeeze for Jess Gang. The bunt goes foul.
And at this point, again, middle to deep fly ball brings home the run.
0-1 count on Gang. Runners at the corners, no outs. Johannick sets, winds, fires. Foul back, strike two. 0-2 count on Gang.
She went for the bunt with the first pitch, but now she's just swinging away. Again, a well-hit ball is so long and good night for the Green Knights.
0-2 pitch on the way. That's lifted to the outfield. The catch is made. Garcia's coming home. Cougars win. Walk-off sac fly for Jess Gang, an 8th inning, extra inning victory. And Concordia takes down St. Norbert's 1-0 for their first conference victory.
Gang hit that one just deep enough into the outfield. Garcia was able to come home quite easily. Cougars didn't score a run until the 8th, but hey, they win all the same.
And that's what we've been talking about. Anything to the outfield, anything in the air when you have less than 2 outs, you can drive in that run on third. Gang gets the job done. And a thrilling pitcher's duel ends after 8 innings. Both teams squandering some chances, but it's Concordia who pushes through first and comes away with the win.
Just fantastic pitching all day by Ashley Schroll. She went the complete game, all 8 innings, gave up 6 hits, but didn't let a runner get across home. And in the end, it was the Cougars who were able to get the 1 run across in extras. They were able to do what the Green Knights couldn't.
Amber Johannick, her first run allowed today, and it comes in a game where she needed to be flawless. But, I mean, credit to the pitchers from both of these teams. Ash Schroll goes 8 scoreless innings, 7 strikeouts for Schroll. Over on the Green Knight side, it's a team of 3 pitchers. Cassie Schultz, 3 innings, only 2 hits allowed, no earned runs given up. Same for Bailey Thielen, 4 innings pitched, only 2 hits given up, 2 strikeouts, no runs allowed. Amber Johannick came into the game, gave up 1 earned run before after only getting 1 out. It was on that one that was on the winning sac fly. The Cougars outlast the Green Knights in a Game 2 thrill. These two teams split the conference opening doubleheader. Concordia wins Game 2 1-0 after dropping Game 1 3-1. So St. Norbert's yet to pick up consecutive victories this season. The Cougars start their conference season 1-1, as does St. Norbert's.
And the Cougars maintaining their trend of playing 500 ball. This gets them to 9-9. Hopefully, now that they got a conference win, they can move forward and pick up some more conference wins.
I mean, you look at one of the most impressive stats from these pitchers as well. St. Norbert's only walked 3 batters, and then they hit Garcia this inning. Garcia ended up being the winning run, so that did cost them only 4 free bases given up on walks or hit by pitches. Ash Schroll walked 1 batter, didn't hit any, and both teams only committed 1 error. I mean, you go back to where it is, the Knights almost flawless on that errors category, and in the last inning you hit a batter, and that batter gets all the way around to third on a fielding error the very next batter. And then St. Norbert's just can't stay perfect long enough. Cougars come away with a Game 2 win, 1-0. RBI goes to Jess Gang on the deep sac fly. Maya Lorenas had a pair of hits. Mikyler Morris a single. Lindley Southern a single. None of them ended up scoring. None of them ended up being up the RBI. Bottom of the 8th, hit by pitch, error, and then a sac fly. Cougars end up scoring without a hit to win the game and walk it off in the bottom of the 8th. And Concordia, their weekend isn't done yet. They continue a conference opening weekend, taking on Aurora at home once again in a doubleheader. That'll be right here live on the Cougar Sports Network. And a huge thank you to everyone who helped make today's game possible on the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back again tomorrow as the Cougars take on the Aurora Spartans. But we're not done on the Cougar Sports Network yet today. Post-game interview coming up with the victorious Cougars right after this. What's up, Cougar Nation? I'm Jonathan Shear with the Cougar Sports Network, here with Jess Gang, who drove in the game-winning RBI on a sac fly walk-off sac fly in Game 2 of today's doubleheader. Cougars take that game 1-0 over the St. Norbert's Green Knights. And Jess, conference opening doubleheader today, and an exciting one. You guys did drop Game 1 3-1. That was a tough game for your squad. Only picked up a couple of hits. Weren't really able to get much going on offense beyond that one run. And then you move into Game 2. How do you work on going forwards from a tough conference opener like that?
You know, we knew exactly what we had to do coming in here, and a lot of hits just didn't end up falling, and that's okay, and they played well, but we knew coming back Game 2 that we just had to have the same mentality and continue to be energetic for each other and just to really enjoy and support each other, and with that, we ended up pulling out the win.
Yeah, and you move on to that win in Game 2, which is a really unique kind of a game that you don't see too often. I mean, both pitchers from both teams pitching incredibly well. For you guys, it was Ash Schroll on the mound. 8 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, no runs allowed. A great day on the mound. And then on the other end for the offense, you know, it's a slower day through that game as well on offense, but pitching on the other end, great as well. So how does that really game work mentally in the dugout as you guys continue going up to the plate, as you go out on the field where both teams are struggling to score runs, both teams are pitching well, and I mean it ends up being one run is the difference?
Yeah, it really comes down to supporting our pitcher. Ash did a fantastic job. We trust her 100%. We trust our defense. We know that they're going to make plays. So coming into the dugout, we knew that we just had to get some runs and pass the bat. And ultimately, when you get runners in scoring position, good things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, you mentioned that just passing the bat, keeping it going. You get to that last inning, you start to see that as the game goes on from both teams. Became much just more of a manufacture runs, bunts, just finding any ways, just put balls in play, get batters around the bases. And you guys ended up doing it with, hit by pitches, errors. You won the game on a walk-off sac fly that you hit to the outfield. At what point, in the game did you guys realize it was going to be that kind of a game?
Probably not until the end. We were really hoping to have an inning. We just needed one inning to get us going, and I think the inning before gave us a little momentum, getting bases loaded, and then we knew what we had to do, and we did it. Yeah.
Yeah, so today was your conference opener. You split that conference opener 1-1. You move on to Aurora tomorrow at home again for another conference doubleheader. But you have that first conference win out of the way. So how does it feel to not have to worry about getting that milestone done as you head into more games tomorrow?
Yeah, we feel great. I think we know the things that we need to do a little better working tomorrow, and moving forward, we know what we need to do, and I think that starts with our presence in the dugout, and then it brings it out onto the field. So we're really excited to go and continue in the conference.
Absolutely. Well, Jess, thank you for coming on for the postgame, and a great win today. Great job to you and your team, and good luck tomorrow as the Cougars take on the Aurora Spartans. Like we mentioned, that'll be right here on the Cougar Sports Network. Concordia taking on Aurora at home in River Forest starting at 12 o'clock tomorrow. Make sure to follow all that action on the Cougar Sports Network and catch up on anything you miss at cucougars.com. As always, thank you for joining us, and roll Cougs.
For tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.